I think we are good. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Dr. Whitney Schneider-Klein. I'm the department chair for the Communication Disorders Department at UNK, and we are just thrilled to have you. Our online graduate SLP program is in its third year. So we feel like, by now for your if you guys are our fourth cohort here, we'll have all the kinks out. We'll be ready to roll. So I also feel like we're well prepared now to answer questions that we weren't previously. So the plan for tonight is for us to walk through, share about our program. We have a couple other faculty and staff members from UNK and some current online graduate students joining us as well. So we're here to share, answer questions that you have, and hopefully recruit you to our program. So with that, I think I already, skipped one slide. My contact information, my email is listed here. I think we will share this with everybody, so you'll have that. Okay, so we're going to kind of shift back and forth here. I have this nice presentation mostly to keep me on track. But what we'd also like to do is just walk through pieces of the puzzle here. Before I go any further, though, I do want to give a shout out to my UNK pals that are on with us right now. Dr. Lai, would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself before I go any further here?
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Schneider-Klein. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dr. Philip Lai. I am an associate professor here in the Department of Communication Disorders. This is my 7th year here at UNK. I'm a researcher at heart. I do lots of research looking at verbal as well as nonverbal communication in young children and toddlers with autism spectrum disorders. So that's sort of like my research background. I do teach a few classes in the graduate department as well as classes at the undergraduate level as well. So it's a little spiel for me.
Thank you, Dr. Lai. How about Mrs. Moody?
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Moody. I am the clinic coordinator, and so I do all the things related to the clinical experience, the practicums, and internship placements. So here at UNK, you will get to know me well over the course of a program.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Amanda.
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Amanda Keating. I'm the online coordinator for the graduate SLP program here at UNK. So I only work with our online students. Obviously, you guys have heard from me with the invitation to this event tonight, and I'm here to answer questions throughout the application process and help you throughout the program as you make your way. So
Thank you. And then I think I'll hold off on our students for just a moment. So hang tight, current students. We'll get to you, I promise. Okay, so Amanda mentioned the application. I have links here to the requirements and where to apply. Applications for our program are due January 15th. What's included in that? This first website shows kind of an overview. And it's really small, so let me make it bigger. And then the admission requirements are outlined here. What we're looking for is somebody who's obtained a bachelor's degree in SLP or who has done so and then completed leveling coursework. Okay, here's what we're looking for. It's kind of combined. So confusing because we have an on-campus program and an online program, but the application requirements are essentially the same, where we're looking for an undergraduate overall GPA of a B or better. Specifically, we look more closely at your coursework in communication disorders. So, and that typically in the people we admit is a B+ or higher on average. Overall, if you have any graduate coursework, GPA of a B+ or above. We require 3 letters of recommendation, which we typically advise are from faculty members if possible. But if you've been out of school for a while, working in the field, there may be people that are better able to speak to your current abilities and skills than a professor you had 10 years ago. So we recognize, that might not always be the best bet. So use your best professional judgment in who you think can speak the best to your abilities currently as far as graduate school goes. We also require a professional resume. This shows us a few different things. Mostly we're looking for what types of real world experiences you've had or what kind of involvement, any research experience. Do you have specific skills like you're bilingual or you studied abroad? That type of thing that, again, can make you stand out as an applicant. We also evaluate our applicants' verbal skills through what we call a video interview. It's not live, so I don't know that that's the best name for it, but it's what we've got. So once you get into the application, you'll see a prompt for your video interview. So we pose a question and then we ask you to record a brief video response to that question so that we, again, can see that you have good verbal skills. Okay. If anyone is an international student, we have requirements outlined there as far as the minimum TOEFL score requirements. Probably don't have a ton of you on right now, so I'm going to kind of skim past that part. I think the one thing that's not listed here is our written personal statement as well. So that's another requirement that we have so that we can see your written language skills. So I always tell students, applicants, you know, there's a prompt for that too. And the content, your story is your story. It's kind of like what got you interested in the field and why you want to do this. And you can't change the content. Like, you are who you are. Don't fabricate things, right? But really what we're looking for that is solid writing skills. So make sure that you edit, rewrite, revise, so that you have a good representation of your true writing abilities represented there. We do not require the GRE, so that is not anything that you need to worry about for our application. I think the rest of this is for later stuff. So the where you apply then is a little bit unique. So for this online program, we have a university application that's linked here. Again, we'll send out this presentation with all the links in it. So the UNK application is basically just your demographic information so that you're in the UNK system and recognized as an applicant, so that, you know, when we accept you, you're in the system, you're recognized as a UNK student immediately then. The other piece of our application, though, where you post your resume, your written statement, your video interview, and all that good stuff, upload transcripts, is on the SIDCast website. So you'll create your account, complete your application on this system as well. So UNK faculty, please help me if I'm missing anything, but I think that's the general overview for the application. Our program is unique. I feel like we've got some things figured out in the last few years. This is our third year of offering this online program. Our setup is that we're a 9-semester part-time program. Within that 9 semesters, you get 4 practicum experiences and 2 internships. And those are conducted in your geographic location, and pretty much you facilitate setting those up, but with some guidance and oversight by Mrs. Moody and Amanda helping navigate that process. So you're not totally on your own. But this is what our program looks like. We'll scroll down to our on-campus one, or online one, excuse me. So the coursework looks like this. We've got classes like diagnostic methods, pediatric swallowing disorders, augmentative and alternative communication, graduate phonological disorders course, and reading and writing strategies for SLPs working in the schools, basically. 851 and 852 are 2 of my favorites. Those are the classes I teach at the graduate level. I'm a PEDS speech and language person. A dysphagia course. There's those 4 practicum courses listed here. We have a graduate level voice and resonance class, motor speech disorders. The CDIS 869 is a course that's unique to our online program. This clinical competencies course is one that you would take your first summer. So let's say you apply this January, you get accepted in the spring, you start classes in the fall, you take more classes in the spring, and then in the summer, you have classwork that includes 869, and that class also has a 1-week on-campus component to it where you come to Kearney, you do a whole host of clinical activities to demonstrate your clinical skills. And then once you've proven yourself as having the basic competencies needed, we send you out on your first practicum in that second fall. So that's kind of a unique aspect. And I always tell our students that's becoming very quickly our favorite week of the year. It's very busy, but we love having our online students on campus. Other coursework that's required is cognitive communication disorders. We have a seminar in speech language pathology. That's Dr. Lai's class covering autism spectrum disorders. We have a fluency disorders class, aphasia rehabilitation, and then again, those 2 internships where one is medical and one's pediatric, whether it's in the schools or otherwise. And then we also have an elective option for our students. And these are kind of what have historically been offered, but that kind of ebbs and flows over time. So in total, our online graduate program is 56 credit hours. I will say that comes with a bit of a caveat. If you're someone, well, essentially we do transcript reviews on everybody that comes into the program. And if you would have a course deficiency, like some people have, like individuals who go to UNK for undergraduate take professional issues as an undergraduate. Well, if you're at an institution where you didn't have that as an undergraduate, that might be a class that you have to add to your grad program. So there may be some deficiency courses like that that get added in to make sure that you meet all the requirements for ASHA. But we'll help you navigate that and make sure that you get what you need. All right, I have a Meet the Faculty page here just to kind of give an overview. In addition to those of us on today, our faculty also includes Dr. Jan Moore. She is a PhD audiologist who's also certified as a speech language pathologist, which is pretty unique. So we're very fortunate to have her on our faculty, as well as Dr. Ghazi Saidi, who teaches courses like our cognitive communication class and aphasia rehabilitation. So more of that adult content comes from her. You met Dr. Lai. I don't know why Dr. Roach doesn't have a picture yet, but she's a great faculty member as well, who again teaches some of that adult content. She currently teaches our diagnostic methods class, our voice and resonance course, and motor speech disorders. We have several lecturers and clinical educators in the department that are mostly on campus. That includes Mrs. Arnold, Mrs. Boykin, Mrs. Heinrichs. You met Mrs. Moody. Dr. Plummer is another audiologist we have on staff. Mrs. Sundberg is one of our other clinical educators, as is Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Wolf, and then again, you've met Amanda, and Kim is our office associate. So we do have a few adjunct faculty that help us teach our online graduate coursework, but for the most part, you'll have our UNK PhDs as instructors. So that's a brief overview of our faculty there. I've included some additional resources. If you haven't checked out the ASHA EdFind website yet, that is a great resource, not just for looking at information about our program, but where you can also find information about other programs. So our website is listed here. My contact information is listed here. Documentation that we are an accredited program. We do have a new study abroad opportunity that is available for our graduate students online and on campus, if that interests you. Let's see. I think the admissions is outlined here. We kind of walked through that. You can see numerically what we've offered in the past couple years. For our online program, we typically get around 100 applicants for about 25 spots. So it is pretty competitive. We are looking to slowly grow that number, but we're not sure 100% when yet. But you can see our full-time students are on campus students, our part-time students are online students. Yeah, I think that covers the highlights. But again, this is a great way to look for information on different master's programs. And then I think the other link I like to include here is our Google Map link. So we are located in the College of Education at UNK. Don't be afraid of that. I think some people hear that and go, whoa, does that mean I can only work in a school? No, our accredited program prepares you for both sides of the field. We just happen to be housed in the department or in the College of Education. So you get a Master's of Science in Education degree, but you are still just as prepared as anybody else from any other accredited program to walk into a medical setting as soon as you graduate as well. So this is kind of our campus, and I like to then zoom out and show you just how in the middle of the country we are. So here we are, South Central Nebraska. We are 1,733 miles away from San Francisco and Boston. So we're between those two, putting us geographically in the middle of the country, which I'm zooming the wrong way again. But yeah, not much around us. So we are pretty rural, and that's kind of our mission, is to serve rural areas and underserved areas that are in need of SLPs. So that is a bit about us. At this point, I think I'd love to open it up to our current students who are on. I see Shania and Julie, and was there one more that I'm missing?
Patricia's here.
Oh, great, Patricia's here too, fantastic. Would each of you please introduce yourself, give a little background, tell about where you're at in the program, and then maybe we can open it up to questions. Shania, you were on first, so I'm gonna pick on you first.
Okay. My name is Shania, and I currently live in Nebraska. I live in the Panhandle, so I think it's about 5 hours from Kearney. And I'm in my second year of this program, and I really enjoy it. It just fit perfect with my lifestyle. I have a go, go, go life, and busy, and having something that was going to be asynchronous was something that was going to be perfect for me. And I've enjoyed it so much, especially our first week, or our week that we had on campus together. That was such a good learning opportunity, and just a chance for all of us to see each other face to face rather than just seeing our little profile pictures on UNK's website. So that was super cool. And I've just enjoyed all the professors, and just all of the staff in this program are so helpful. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and I'm glad to see all of you on this Zoom meeting that are interested in attending this program.
Thanks, Shania. Patricia, would you want to go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Neal. I am a first-year graduate student. I live in California. My background is, I've done a number of different things, but I've worked in education. I've also worked in corporate training and development, and I work part-time now, and I'm taking 2 classes this semester. And I think as well, like, I knew the online format was one that would work for me, and all of the implications on the fixed parts of my life. So I appreciate like the flexibility of the program, and that was a big draw for me, because I knew that I could create a schedule for myself and could be successful in this kind of a format, and I've really enjoyed it.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm also a second year graduate student. I'm living in Colorado Springs. So this online program was perfect for me being away. Like Shania, I also really enjoyed the week on campus, getting to meet the instructors and all the students, knowing you're not alone. That was really nice. Overall, it's been a really positive experience so far for me. So I've really enjoyed it.
Great, thank you. So all of our guests on Zoom tonight, I think at this point, we'd like to open it up for what questions do you have for either the faculty, the staff, the current students. We're all here and willing to share to make sure you get what you need out of tonight. Oh, Dr. Lai, what did I forget?
Oh, no, you're good. I just have a few tips that as a person who will be reading some of these applications, I just got a few tips, and you did a wonderful job of going over the overview of the application process. But yeah, as a person that will be reading some of these applications, I do have a few tips that I just want to go over with you guys. First tip is the video. This is like a 2-minute YouTube upload video. And in the past, we've gotten a variety of videos. And so one thing is, if it doesn't come out well, just redo it. We've had some very short videos, some very long videos, but just make sure to follow the instructions. And if it doesn't look good, just redo it. My second tip is when it comes to the letter writers, just make sure they're professional letter writers. Don't choose like your parents to write you a letter of rec or your spouse. Somebody, just make sure that, it's health related if you can't find like a faculty professor to write a letter. My third tip is for the personal statement. This is a really good place to, address any issues that you may have, like, if you had a bad grade in like chemistry, for example, this is a good place to address that. And my fourth and final tip is actually, that was it. So I only had 3 tips. So just wanted to, give you guys a heads up on that.
Those are great. Thank you, Dr. Lai. Tara, what can we share with you?
Hi, yeah, I'm gonna warn you, I have a 2-year-old right here. So, but
Sure.
I wanted to ask, and a 6-year-old's coming over. So I am currently 7 years into my SLPA job that I've had. Is it something that would work with with working as an SLPA already, or like how does that look if I just graduated with a bachelor's in August, but I had an associate's prior, so I didn't know what that would look like. Yeah,
Yeah.
if that would for now, I guess.
Yes, we've got some well-informed people that can answer your question, Tara. Mrs. Moody, I'm going to let you start.
Okay, sounds good. Tara, we found that our students have had a lot of success with that. Those practicum placements are intended to be part-time. So usually I usually say if you think about like maybe an 8-hour time period, some people have built that into their SLPA position if their employer is on board with that and you have the right supervision. So you pick out a small caseload and those are your practicum students in your existing SLPA position. Other students have worked a few days and then they go to a practicum placement that's totally different, one afternoon or one day a week or 2 afternoons a week or something like that. We're also seeing students do something similar in internships too, where they are an intern 3 days a week and an SLPA 2 days a week as they're completing their full-time internship placement in the school setting. That very last clinical placement, that's not going to be as attainable because that really has to be full-time. It's a shorter, intense medical placement. But up until that point, we're finding students, we have a variety of students who have continued their SLPA work while completing the program.
So that medical one would not be during the summer then? It would during like the technical school year?
No, it's during the summer. Yeah, it
Okay.
would be your very last semester, the summer 3.
Okay, that wouldn't be so bad because I don't work in the summer. So that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm like, okay, I can't take off a whole semester here, but yeah, okay, that'd be great. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dr. Moody.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we could have our students kind of chime in on how they're balancing at this point too. That would be helpful.
Feel free
For
to
me,
oh, sorry, just
For-
type questions in the chat too if you don't feel comfortable asking.
I was just gonna say, I work very, very part-time online. And I have a 1-year-old who like feels like a full-time job, but it is quite the juggle with all of that. But I know that some people in my cohort are working as an SLPA and doing the program, but it's just a big caseload. It's a big workload.
Oh, I see a couple of chats coming up. Is there any specific funding for this program? No, there is not specific funding for the program. I think, as scholarship opportunities come along, we always share those with our students to encourage seeking that. I think, our on-campus students are often they have to have access to positions like graduate assistantships and things like that that aren't always offered to part-time students. But I do think we're seeing more openness at our university to the potential of having online graduate assistants. So that might be something that evolves over the next few years. The cost of the program, our program is 750 a credit hour. So I used to have this number memorized, quick math. That 56 credit hours times 750 is $42,000 total, which I know makes everybody go, but at the end of the program, you'll get a job that probably pays better than mine. So it'll pay off, I promise. Other questions? We got someone who's currently a teacher. Are you able to work as an SLPA while in grad school, or would you need extra certifications for that? That's a great question. It totally depends on where you live. So like in the state of Nebraska, if you have a bachelor's degree in communication disorders, you're eligible for an SLPA position or certification in, again, our state, but it is different by every state. So it totally depends on where you're located. You can certainly look into what your state requires, and if you need help navigating that, let us know. Another question about bilingual certification. So our program is not a bilingual program. However, we know the value of having bilingual SLPs and know that there's such a great need for that. And we have students who are bilingual in our program, but we don't have that specific identification as our program or within our program. Unique research interests of the professors of this program. Well, Dr. Lai shared about his research a little bit. Dr. Lai, do you want to share about others?
Yeah. So our research here at UNK is pretty broad. And we have professors' interest in pretty much throughout the lifespan, from children, toddlers like for myself, children, school age, up into adolescents, and even into the adult populations as well. I know that if you go through our website, each professor that does research do have a link, and you can go into that link and it'll actually have research interests. And I do know that a lot of the professors do research, and we have had online students do research as well. Also, online students presenting at our student research day. So definitely keep in mind in the back of your head that research is an opportunity that you can do, and you can also get some authorship out of research. So there you go. Here's Dr. Ghazi Sadi and her research. So it's definitely something, if you're interested, it's something that you can pursue in this program.
Thank you, Dr. Lai. Sorry, you guys got really good in the chat. Now I'm trying to keep up. So the process, there was a question about when decisions are made. So the process we go through is January 15th is when that application is due. And then at that point, once we know how many applications we have, we start assigning them to faculty to review. Each application has at least 3 faculty that review them. And so it takes a bit of time. Again, if we have like 100 applications and there's 10 of us reviewing these and 3 eyes on each, it takes a bit. So we typically meet sometime in February to review all the applications, make our recommendations, and then we let the people know, once our decisions have been made, typically probably towards the end of February. March 1st is usually kind of my goal. I'd like to get ahead of that. We typically like to pride ourselves in being quicker than anybody else and letting you know faster, but I can't guarantee anything. So let's say end of February, beginning of March, you'll hear if you've been admitted, put on the wait list, or denied. What does that mean? Well, if you're admitted, that means you're in our top 50, let's say, and we've offered you a position in the program. If you're on the wait list, I always tell people don't get discouraged. That means we still like you. We just don't have enough spots for everybody, okay? So that means you've still got what you need. You're just a little bit further down the line. And then if you've been denied, typically something's missing from your application, or maybe you didn't meet one of the minimum requirements. Like, we can give you some feedback. Like, I always encourage people to reach out and we can give you feedback on how to improve your application for next time. But what happens after you hear from us from that initial designation, then nationwide, April 15th, tax day, doesn't mean tax day to me. In our world, it means that it's grad admissions date. That's when you have to let us know if you're coming by. So for those that are admitted, they let us know by April 15th. And then April 16th, we start going down the wait list, trying to fill our cohort to whatever our number is for that year. Again, last year it was like 25. We may be able to take a few more this next year. So that's that process. Did I miss anything, faculty? I think that covers that. All of our classes are asynchronous, again, with the exception of that 1 week on campus where we are all together most of the week. There is no cost different for in-state, out-of-state. It is just a flat rate for all. And there's a question about leveling courses. If they aren't complete, can prospective students still apply and concurrently complete them after acceptance into the program? Typically, we like to see you towards the end of that leveling so that, again, you could start the program in the fall ready to go with what you need. So we typically have, like, we want you to be close enough that you're ready to start that fall. Okay, graduate students, do you have any tips on how to be successful?
I really think that time management is important. It can be easy with online classes sometimes to not necessarily forget about them, but you get going in your life and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these readings to do or whatever it is. And so to be successful and truly get everything out of this program that's being provided to you, it's important that you manage your time and you see, you know, how many hours a day do I need to set aside to really soak in this knowledge and do the best that I can, because you know, you're paying for this education. And so, and it's a good education, and the faculty truly cares about what they're teaching. And that's what I admire so much about this program is I can see the passion and just the dedication that every single one of the faculty members has put in. And it really makes me just like proud to be part of this program. So yeah, definitely just manage your time and know what it is that you can handle. If you have to say no to things, I've learned that. I live a very busy lifestyle. I coach volleyball. I work full-time right now. I'm definitely going to be cutting back just because things are getting a little bit more busy with school, and I want to prioritize that. But just knowing some things, that it's okay to say no to some things in your schedule and to just try to kind of make it a balance and something that you can handle.
Patricia or Julie, anything to add to that?
I would agree with a lot of that. Go ahead.
You go first.
Okay. I think I would just say know yourself. It's kind of an extension of what you were just saying. As far as you'll find that like students in the program will do a number of different things. Some will be working full-time, some will be working part-time. I think there's even some stay-at-home parents in my program. So it's just kind of know what you can handle realistically, and then create a schedule for yourself and stick to that schedule. I think that would be the biggest piece of advice that I would have. For me, I know like I can't work part-time. I have kids that take up a lot of my time. Or I can't work full-time. Sorry, I have kids that take up a lot of my time, and I have to be really disciplined with studying, or like the rest of my life just kind of takes over. So yeah, those are my tips.
Good stuff.
The thing I would add to that is to just don't be afraid to ask questions like to your instructors and like fellow classmates, because all the instructors have always seemed really, really happy to answer questions and help, but you have to ask first. So that's a big thing.
Good advice, all three of you. Thank you. Another question from the chat was, what were the range of GPAs for previous cohorts, and what are some ways we can set ourselves apart? I think the range of GPAs. So this was for last year's pool. I would say the online program was more in the 3.25 to 4.0 range. The lower GPAs we offered to were more on campus. So it's a pretty wide range. We really like to pride ourselves on not just looking at GPA. We look at the whole application. So I think a piece of advice with that is to not get too hung up on any one piece of it. Like, we look at all of it. So how do you make yourself stand out? Again, I think you tell your story and you sell yourself well. So like Dr. Lai said, clean up those video recordings. You can do as many takes as you need to get it right so that you're representing yourself well. Again, spend time on that personal statement so that you are sharing your story in a clear manner, showing us your writing skills. And then make sure to include all of the relevant experiences that you have completed on that resume so that we can see who you are and what you bring to the table. Dr. Lai or Mrs. Moody, would you have anything to add to that?
I would add in that, the GPA is often pretty reflective of how you work as a student. If you, are working hard in your classes, or your personal statement might explain, like, some of these classes were really hard. My GPA wasn't as high as I wanted it to be, but I decided not to be a nurse. And once I got into speech path, it was, that's where I really excelled. And all of that's great. So as the clinic coordinator, I'm often looking for what are those experiences you've had that will bode well for you being a clinician, because ultimately you need to be successful in your graduate program, but you're going to be out there working with people later. So just making sure that we want to see you as a student, but we want to see, if you have those experiences, we'd love to hear about them. So and if you don't have them, that's okay too, but don't forget about them, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'll just add on, be well-rounded, and remember the we're not expecting you guys to have a GRE score. So once again, your experiences is going to be, more, elevated in this case. So, yeah.
There was a question about the week on campus, and I know, Amanda, you responded to that, but I just wanted to give a quick overview there. Students are responsible for their travel, whatever it takes to get you here, whether that's a plane ticket, a car ride, whatever. And then we offer a variety of housing options, including very discounted campus housing for students. If you're coming with your family, which we've had students do before, university rules don't allow for others to stay, but if you're coming by yourself, you can stay on campus at a pretty reasonable rate. Do we have any online students who currently work full-time and completing coursework? I think Shania just kind of gave an example of that it can be done for a while. I think especially that first year, as students are completing coursework only, it's a little bit more manageable. But I think, as she mentioned, like, the further you get in, the more you're thinking about those practicum placements and the coursework gets a little heavier. It becomes harder as you get deeper into the program. So students, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my take on what we've seen so far, I think.
Yep, for sure.
Danny, we love students in Alaska. We have kind of a partnership with a faculty member at the University of Alaska Anchorage that can help with placements. So yes, yes, and yes. Come on down. There was a question about the dates of each semester. That's a little tricky. The university doesn't like to focus too far ahead, but essentially it's usually August to December-ish, like mid to late August to mid to before Christmas time. In December is your fall semester. January to May is spring semester. And then our May semester starts the summer semester, which is May, June, and July into August. So typically there's a week or two between semesters. Currently we have a J term that's most of January that we don't offer any classes in. So that's kind of the extended break for our students right now, but I do believe that's going away in the coming years. So that's about as good of an estimate as I can give on the semester schedule.
Yeah, and I can add in, if you go onto the UNK website, the front page, scroll all the way down to, there's a link called academic calendar. You can click on that and it'll show you sort of like which days yeah, there you go. All the way down on the left side. There you go. There's a third link right there. There's the academic calendar.
I think they haven't really updated yet. So I think you have to go to like this future click. Yeah, it's not great, but there's 24, 25, we can see outlined. So that they usually go about a year out like that. So thank you. We got a shout out to the leveling professors. Thanks, Dolores. Rachel wants to know if you're still able to get to know your cohort while being online.
Absolutely. There's a lot of opportunity to collaborate and get to know each other. And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy is you don't just jump right into the program and be like, okay, here we go. There's a lot of opportunity that professors have given to just get to know each other. And it's really cool because that week on campus, it's amazing the friendships and the bonds and the connections that are made when you actually get to meet each other in person, because you've spent all that time online talking to each other on discussions and with partner projects and stuff like that. And then being able to actually see each other in person, it's like you've known each other forever. You just haven't seen their face. And so, yeah, it is really cool with technology. Being able to form those friendships is awesome.
Patricia, I know your first semester, but do you feel like you already have a good sense of your cohort a little bit?
I definitely do. I think that the classes are set up as well so that you have some opportunity to interact with classmates, and some of the projects are designed to be collaborative. So there's opportunities. I certainly feel like I haven't done the week in Kearney yet, as this is my first semester, but I feel like that probably solidifies your group going forward as well. But
Yeah.
no, it's been really good.
I've been impressed. Our first years we just met with them for advising over the past few weeks, one-on-one, and it seems like they're already making those connections. So Julie, anything you want to add on that note?
Not really. I think they said it all.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything Shania said, and yeah, it's been great.
Great, thank you. Someone asked when that summer on campus time typically is. The last few years, it has been the last week in June. Can't guarantee that moving forward, but that's when it has been the last couple of years. Likely to stay that, but we coordinate a lot of events for you to have those clinical opportunities during that week, so subject to change. Excuse me. Someone asked if we can still submit GRE scores even though not required. You can. They won't count for anything. Like, you don't get extra points for doing that, but if you want to share that information, I guess you sure could. If we got below a B on a communication disorders course, will we need to retake it? Need to, not necessarily. You may want to strengthen your application. Again, if you're not successful the first go, that might be something to improve for next time. I realize kind of out of time if you haven't done it now, but yeah, again, that's one of those things where if there's explanation you can provide in your personal statement to kind of explain like that was a bad semester, whatever, or that you plan to retake that. Those are always good to include. So. All right, you guys did great at throwing out questions. I don't know if I missed any. I feel like I did okay, but oh, we got a new one. Did any of you students that are on currently do your leveling work through UNK?
I did.
I did too.
All right, 2 out of 3. Specific questions related to that? Easy transition?
Yes.
It was.
Okay.
It definitely helped like in my decision of which school to choose.
I agree with that. Yeah, it was a very smooth, it almost felt like it was just part of the program.
Just keep going,
Yeah,
right?
that's how I felt too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a continuation.
Patricia, were you a leveling
have-
student or did you have a bachelor's degree?
No, I have a bachelor's degree in communication disorders.
And not from UNK, Hannah. That was the question. From another university. Yes. We do have a lot of students that start the leveling program, continue on in the grad program, but we have a lot of students from outside of UNK too that didn't do the leveling, have degrees from elsewhere. So how many classes do you take at a time in the grad program? So that typical 9-semester part-time schedule has you taking on average 2 classes a semester. And then beyond the first year, you'll have 1 to 2 classes plus a 2 credit hour practicum for the next 4 semesters. The last 2 semesters where you've got internships, while you have your school internship, you have 1 class. And while you have that medical internship that last summer, it's the only thing you have is just the internship. So again, that's on average. If you have those deficiency courses, sometimes we do have students taking 3 classes at a time. So it just kind of depends. All right. Well, anything else we can share? We do always get the question, can I do it faster? And really, my answer, I don't like to say no. I'm not a negative Nelly here, but our program truly is set up to be part-time. The way we have our practicums and that clinical competencies course kind of being the gateway to doing those practicums, there's really no way to rush that piece of it. So not really, unfortunately. I would say the question is how many students are admitted to the program with class deficiencies? I would say more than half, but not all. So maybe 75% would be a good indicator, but I would also say that a lot of those need like 1 to 2 classes. It's not a ton. So yeah, most come in with deficiency needs, but it's not a great deal of coursework.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that they have the opportunity maybe in the summertime to complete a class before the program even begins to get that out of the way. So.
Thank you for mentioning that, Amanda. We do those transcript reviews pretty quickly once we know you're coming so that we can advise you accordingly. And we offer a lot of online courses in the summer too. So some of those, you can have that option to take them with us in the summer before you get started in the fall or elsewhere. And Liza, of course, you can always reach out to us if you have other questions. If you're like me, you'll think of something 30 minutes after we log off, which is why, again, I always share my email address. You've got Amanda's address as well. If she can't answer the question, she'll filter it to the appropriate party. So yes, we are here to answer your questions. We want to make sure you know all the facts, know what you're getting into here, and feel comfortable going ahead with your application. Okay, we'll also have the recording of the presentation. So some said, I couldn't hear you at the beginning. Hopefully that wasn't true for everyone and the recording will be solid and we can share that so you can review it with as needed, I guess. All right, anything else? Okay, I'm seeing thank yous and not questions coming in. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your interest in the program. And we look forward to reviewing your applications or hearing from you soon with questions beforehand.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, thank you.